Hello everyone, welcome. This is David Garcia Zorin from Valladolid University Hospital in Spain. I'm a clinical neurologist, and it is my great pleasure having here three renowned colleagues that will give us their views and their opinions about the sessions not to be missed in the Congress, and they will bring us some highlights. Please let me introduce them. On the first hand, we have with us Professor Charwe Feli from Ghana. So Tina, would you like to introduce yourself?
Thank you very much, David. My name is Tina Charwe Feli. I am a neurologist, an adult neurologist. I am based in Accra, Ghana, in the military hospital. I am also the president of the African Academy of Neurology.
Excellent, Tina. Thank you very much. And we have also with us Professor El Alawi. Professor?
Yes, I am Mustafa El Alawi Faris. I am Professor of Neurology and Neuropsychology at Mohammed V University in Rabat in Morocco, and the Director of the Alzheimer's Center in Rabat. And I was the President of the World Congress of Neurology in Marrakesh in November 2011.
Excellent. And last but not least, we have also Professor Hooker. Please, Professor, the floor is yours.
Hello. Thank you very much. So I'm not a professor, but I'm Jose Hooker. I'm a neurologist in Nairobi, Kenya, in clinical practice. So it's a pleasure being here. Thank you.
Okay, excellent. Well, we have our second Congress Day today after the official introduction. We have with us Professor Charwe Feli from the African Academy of Neurology, and one of the sessions that we have today was the regional symposium from the Pan-African Regional Symposium. So, dear colleagues, do you want to highlight anything from this symposium who dealt about the fact that we cannot see each other, but this can be also an opportunity to properly train neurologists across the globe. So what do you think? What can you tell us?
If I may, so the theme of the regional symposium was indeed neurology training as it currently stands on the African continent, and what the future can and should hold in terms of training. And one of the topics that was spoken about was the EEG online course, and it highlighted how even now that we are homebound, all of us, and restricted to Zoom, etc., we can still provide adequate and quality training sessions. And in fact, this terrible, unfortunate situation we all find ourselves in has opened a great deal of opportunities. It is at the same time very difficult to be in 1,000 virtual meetings at the same time. And I just wanted to say that, like in a live Congress, I find myself like a child in a candy store. There are so many interesting presentations, so many interesting sessions, from the basic sciences to the clinical aspects of a lot of things. But especially for the young neurologists, and the majority of the neurologists on our continent are still budding and have their whole careers ahead of them, the training courses are of excellent value. One was on the dementias that Prof. El Alawi you chaired, also excellent. I have to say that both a good thing and a bad thing. So in a virtual Congress, your agenda is so full of lots of different things that you want to listen to, and you do have the opportunity, if you've missed any of them, to go and listen to them again, which you wouldn't normally have in an actual Congress. But there are so many things, it's hard to pinpoint. The last thing I watched before joining this meeting was the plenary session, the Scenario awardee plenary session on lighting up the brain, on optogenetics and sleep and the physiology of sleep. And it was just fascinating. There's so much we don't know, and there's so much we do know that for most of us is just baffling. It's just amazing.
Sure. As you pointed, today it was a day quite focused on dementia and Alzheimer, and indeed Professor El Alaoui Faghi chaired one of the sessions. Would you like to highlight some of the presentations, Professor?
Yes, firstly, I am very pleased to see in virtual manner. The session dementia I chair, we have 3 conferences. One in early onset dementia, another in rapidly progressive dementia, and the third by Philippe Chentens in the neuroimaging in dementia. The teaching course focused on the atypical particular dementia. Early onset dementia, it means dementia before the age of 65. And in this situation, we have dementia that occur quickly, rapidly, and we have degenerative disease and secondary dementia. Secondary dementia causes by infectious disease, autoimmune disease, vascular disease, and 1/3 of the early onset dementia to Alzheimer's disease. But a special picture of Alzheimer's disease. In late Alzheimer's disease, most frequent, we have the principal symptoms, memory disorders. But in early onset dementia, the cognitive disorders have the presentation of language disorders that calls progressive language, donc aphasia, primary progressive aphasia, or visual and apraxic forms. And for the second conference that I had, rapidly progressive dementia is the particular groups of dementia with in the most frequent is Creutzfeldt-Jakob disease and autoimmune encephalopathies. And the last conference, Professor Chentens focused in the MRI image and PET image in different dementia. The first conference was done by Professor Brini from Italy.
Okay, excellent.
Summary.
That's an interesting summary, and without any doubt, dementia will be one of the main players in the upcoming years, because of the new treatments and the importance of early diagnosis in case we want to test the potential novel therapies. And Professor Hooker, do you want to share with us some of the sessions that you have enjoyed most, or the sessions that you would not miss in the future days?
I think it's an excellent meeting. I mean, like Dina said, I mean, you're spoiled for choice. Lots of different tracks, and you just have to forgo something to get something else. So in the morning, I attended some of the unusual cases that had been presented for the Tournament of the Minds. And I think the one case that struck me most and struck close to home was the patient with an intracranial mass lesion, HIV negative, who had apical lung findings on X-ray and CT scanning. Really overall looked very much like tuberculosis, and was quite correctly treated for tuberculosis in the UK, but then continued to deteriorate and eventually came to brain biopsy. The biopsy specimen, interestingly, on culture grew a micrococcus, but that was probably a red herring. And on histology, showed a fungus, which on histology they felt was very likely to be aspergillus, but then on culture it grew a completely different fungus. So really a diagnostic quagmire, and it just shows that what may appear to be TB or may appear to be something else may turn out to be a completely different diagnosis when you actually follow it through in terms of histology and microbiology. So a real lesson to us, especially in our part of the world where we do suspect TB quite often. I think there are a number of infection-related sessions, and indeed one going on even at the moment. And I think there's a lot to learn from these sessions overall.
Absolutely. I think that the reason why that case was presented at the Tournament of Minds is that there are some really difficult cases, and some help is acknowledged. And as you said, there are many other infections. Now COVID is under the spotlight, but there are still so many other infections. So I think that the forthcoming days, we will have additional sessions on neuroinfections. Tomorrow I see that there are many sessions on dementia, neuro-oncology also, which is a quite attractive topic, epilepsy. So I guess that we will have to use our time to enjoy the Congress. Would you like, Tina, to recommend any session, or is there any session that you would never miss for the rest of the Congress?
That is a very difficult question, because like I mentioned earlier, when you're going through the program and adding to your agenda, you suddenly realize you have overlaps, you've missed things. I would very much like to follow the dementia teaching courses, the atypical forms, and some of the other neurodegenerative diseases. That's a sub-pet interest of mine, so I would perfectly love to follow those. But everything is so interesting. And again, as a general practitioner, because we do not get the luxury to pick and choose the kinds of patients that we see, there is so much on offer. So really everything is well worth watching. The bad thing about being in a virtual Congress is that you're stuck at work because you haven't gone anywhere. So that makes it additionally difficult to keep track of everything. But no, I can't recommend any one thing. Everything is excellent.
What about you, Professor El Alaoui Fari? Would you stay on the dementia courses, or do you take this opportunity to explore additional areas?
Maybe to explore MS, multiple sclerosis. It's a topic in my interest, and essentially the treatment of MS, the new treatment. But before I will be very pleased yesterday to know that Professor Vladimir Hashensky from Canada, and Mrs. Kate Newton had the medals from the WFN. Professor Hashensky and Kate Newton had the the responsible in the 20th Congress in Marrakesh, and I have the pleasure to work with them and to organize a very, very successful Congress here in Morocco. It's very pleasure to know that Professor Hashansky has the medals. I appreciate the plenary session on COVID-19 and the neurological manifestation by Professor Ettore Beghi. He bring many interesting things in the epidemiology and in the international consortium studying neuro-COVID. He underline the very frequency of complication of neurological disease, mainly encephalitis, in the hospitalized patient with COVID. And that's maybe a very interesting course to maybe to follow. In the recording, it is the possibility to recording the conference. I also appreciate the global intervention the conference from the President Bill Carroll on global neurology and the importance for the government and policymaker to work in this area for all continents, especially for continents as Africa and South Asia.
For sure. I totally agree with you that the most difficult part here is selecting which topic should we see first, because now that we have all the sessions on demand, you can take your time and really enjoy them. But we miss seeing each other. What are your final thoughts, Dr. Hooker? Any session that you would recommend, or will you stay with the Tournament of Minds?
I would stay with the Tournament of the Minds. I think it's live, it's challenging, and I think one learns a lot from those sessions. So I would enjoy that.
Sure. We are lucky to have such an interesting Congress, and I'm sure that all the attendees will enjoy this virtual edition of the Congress. So I look forward to see you all around, and hopefully we will see in person in the next edition. Let's hope for that. So thank you very much, and see you soon.
Thank you.
All the best, everyone. Please keep safe.